come up today so that we can have this interaction. But definitely, I know they are listening from wherever they are. So that is not going to be much of a problem for us. So please, everybody, it's as good as you can tell. So at the end of the day, these tensions are amplified by deep-seated um, historical and political rivalries between the Igbos and the Yoruba ethnic group and every other place, not just in Yoruba land. Recall what happened in Ghana, where the Igbo wanted to buy Igbo nation in Ghana. Why do Igbos keep doing things like that? And what exactly do they gain from it? Yes, one will argue that it is to unify the Igbo nation in diaspora, in that particular community. One would also argue that want to put a focal point of leadership and all those things. But in reality, is that actually what happens? Again, we also take a look at why they do not succumb to the whims and caprices of the tradition of the place where they are residing and doing business, or whatever they are doing there. So today we want to enlighten ourselves on this. Personally, I would like to learn a lot on this one, and because it's been causing a lot of rancor in the society. So please, everybody, join me up. Let's have this very wonderful conversation. It's not every day we talk politics, but today we go back to our roots and our tradition. I bet everybody here is willing to know. Just so you know that there is a coronation in Lagos. The worst part of it is that they wanted to replicate the Oba of Lagos, the structure of the Oba of Lagos, which they say is about 1.5 billion naira palace in Lagos, to rival that of the Oba of Lagos. Can you imagine that? And if it is your own hometown, will you allow that to happen? Well, the police arrested I don't want to use the word so-called, but they purported that according to the police is illegal and of no substance. That similar arrest was also done some years ago when they wanted to do same thing again. So why do we keep having this tension wherever we are? Go abroad, outside the shores of Nigeria, you have is it this, is it that, is it in various countries? Yes, there are benefits, but why do we keep having incessant clashes between the Igbo kings in diaspora and the host communities, particularly in Yoruba land? That is going to be the focus of our conversation this morning. Everybody, welcome aboard to the Massive program. Welcome to the main event on radio. It is Straight Talk live on Echo FM 100.7. Before we do that, as usual, we'll go take a listen to what the newspapers are saying this morning. Don't touch that dial. I'll be right back.
Echo FM.
Echo FM 100.7, the fresh news people.
Echo FM. Echo FM.
It's the sound of the city. Echo 100.7.
Yeah, je suis arrivé. Qu'est-ce que la nation soit sur les Ghana? C'est moi,
Echo FM. Echo FM.
Echo FM, under the 7th of fresh news people.
All right, welcome back. Apologies for that long break in transmission. I told you people today, anyhow, when I see me, when I carry me like that, because, all right, let's just manage and do this. The show must go on, no matter, anyhow, kwata na draw, golo must jump, all right? So let's continue. All right, we go to our newspaper review right now. We are going to start off with this very terrible news from abroad. Charlie Kirk is a prominent United States conservative activist and founder of the Turning Point USA. He has been shot dead at the age of 31. This young man was one of the ardent supporters of Donald Trump, and then he was shot dead yesterday in a campus because he is in charge of most of the youth and campus wing conversation. He is an activist, but he is a strong ally of Donald Trump. He was shot dead yesterday. Okay, so according to the United States president, he's reacting to the news, described Kirk as a great and even legendary, adding that no one understood had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. The FBI director Kash Patel said a suspect has been taken into custody in Utah. Governor, that's where it was shot, Utah. Utah Governor Spencer Cox also confirmed that a person of interest was detained in connection with the incident. They say manhunt is still on for the killer of Charlie Clark. All right, still on the foreign newspapers, let's go to Naples. Now, in Naples, a small country in Asia, there has been protests that have been going on for quite a lot of days there. Now, these are is tagged the Gen Z protest. What sparked that protest was because their government banned the use of social media in the country, and the youth, the Gen Z, went bizarre and started, they attacked their MPs, their political leaders, attacked them in their houses, and of course, the Prime Minister's wife was burnt down inside her own house. She was killed and burnt in her house beyond recognition. The Prime Minister has since resigned, but the youths are saying no way, that they want their king to come back. They're tired of the politics. They want to go back to the monarchical level of government. They don't want any form of that. They want the king to come back and rule. Then they value the king more than their own lives and all that. Well, about 30 persons have been killed in the protest. Police used live ammunition on them to dispel them. But every time one person falls down, it more aggravates the youths more. They go on rampage. They have destroyed the Senate building, destroyed nearly all the government parastatals. But the Prime Minister resigned in order to stop the chaos, but no way. All right, so that is exactly what is happening there. They have since, after the first day of the protest, they thought it was a joke until the thing became very serious, and they restored back social media. The youths are still not satisfied. They say bad governance and all that. They want to stop it for good. So that is what is happening in Nepal. For those of you who don't know where Nepal is, Nepal is just north of India and China. It's in between a small, it doesn't have any water. It's all land surrounded by the north of India and China. It's a very small settlement there. All right, so that is for the foreign news. Let's come back home and give you our own Wahala news. All right, we start off with the Punch newspaper now. On the Punch newspaper this morning, we have 2027 police. INEC move against early campaigns. Campaign don't start since, so INEC now on one wake up. Who started it? We endorsed Tinubu for 2027 since last year. That's what the APC started doing. PDP joined them. Now ADC, and of course, Labour, they don't take the back seat. Nobody, they talk about Labour Party again. But at the end of the day, the campaigns, well, as the race towards the 2027 general elections gathers momentum, the Independent National Electoral Commission and the Nigerian Police Force have warned political parties against embarking on early campaigns in violation of the electoral law. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu lamented that parties had already kicked off subtle campaigns despite clear provisions that restrict such activities to 150 days before the polls. All right, that is what INEC is saying. Reps grill Edu and Bagudu over 2024-2025 budget delays. Okay, recall the reps. I don't know if they are waking up. It's just an exercise in futility because everything that happens there is always approved. Right now, it looks as if they are grilling. The House of Representative Committee on Appropriation has engaged the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, and the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Atiku Bagudu, over the pace of implementation of the 2024-2025 Appropriation Act. Well, briefing newsmen after the closed-door session in Abuja on Wednesday, the chairman of the committee, Abubakar Bichi, APC Kanu, said Nigerians were increasingly worried about the level of budget execution. He explained that the engagement was part of the National Assembly's constitutional mandate to monitor budget performance and ensure effective service delivery. If you want to ensure effective service delivery, you could have easily done this thing open. What's the media were kept out of the whole situation? How are we supposed to hear the kind of questions and what they were saying? Now we're going to be hearing what you are telling people. That doesn't make sense. We should have heard it directly as it is done, but it was in a closed-door session. Well, according to the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, he said they have achieved about 80% of the budget for 2025 allocation and fiscal expenditure and all that. That is what he said. Remember, the president said they have already met their target since August. They have already met their target since August. So I don't know which is the target. Nobody knew what their target was. And now they say they've already met the target. All right, that is exactly what's on the Punch newspaper. Moving on to other stories on the Punch newspaper, 5% fuel surcharge, what Nigerians should know. You want to know more, go grab a copy of the Punch newspaper. Nigerian students now rely on AI for support. That was yesterday. PDP SAN protests as Senate blocks Natasha's return. South Africa dent Eagles World Cup hope. All right, that is all on the Punch newspaper. We also have, let's move on now to the Daily Post newspaper. Nigerian doctors declare 5-day nationwide warning strike. The National Association of Resident Doctors has declared a 5-day warning strike starting from Friday, 12th of September. That is tomorrow. Tomorrow, the doctors will be going on strike. So if you want to do anything, you only have today to get the doctors, resident doctors. Otherwise, they'll be on strike. Every one of them will now go and open private hospital and charge you through. You pay through your nose to get treated in case you're having health challenges. Anyway, I need to go do my own now before they go strike. NLC demands power sector audit after nationwide grid collapse again. DSS Arraign captured Ansaro terror commander on 32 terrorism charge on September 11. That's today. DSS to arraign captured Ansar terrorist commander and on the 32 terrorism charge September. We're relying on AI will have students useless. That's according to Adoye. 2027, we are no power. Okay, we with no power to stop early campaigns by political parties aspirants. That is INEC, as they lament. Okay, they don't have power. Which power do you need again? All right, FG to arraign 2 captured Ansaro commanders. That is on the Daily Trust newspaper. 4 children, 8 others die in tanker accident. All right, that is in Imo State here. All right, we also have Tinubu orders fake. Strike, resident doctors give FG fresh 24 hours before their strike will commence tomorrow. So today is the only day FG have to deal with their matter. What are they asking for? Improved allowances, pay them the arrears of money you are owing them, and of course, improve the working condition in the hospitals. That's all. All right. 2 months after INEC recognizes ADC leadership. All right, the ADC is rejoicing because David Mark and Aregbesola has now been confirmed by INEC as the leaders of the ADC. All right, the checks on INEC's official website on Wednesday, that was yesterday, showed that the commission had updated the party's leadership and details to reflect Senator David Mack as national chairman, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola as national secretary, Dr. Mani Ibrahim Ahmed as national treasurer, Akibo Dalhatu as national financial secretary, and Professor Osehime Igborodion Osumbo as national legal advisor. The coalition of opposition forces, championed by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar alongside other prominent politicians, had on 2nd of July formally adopted the ADC as its common platform to challenge the ruling All Progressive Congress APC in the 2027 general elections. At that event, former Senate President David Mack and former Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola were announced as interim chairman and secretary, replacing Raf Nwosu and Alhaji Said Baba Abdullahi. That matter has been put to rest now. ADC can now focus. INEC has recognized their leadership. The likes of Kachuku, Oya, keep quiet and let ADC do their thing. Okay, we move on now to the Guardian newspaper. All right, and the Guardian newspaper, FG boasts 80% 2024 budget execution, cites procurement hurdles for 2025. Go and grab a copy. Kwankwaso eyes investment in Cross Rivers agri sector. Yes, Kwankwaso was in Cross Rivers yesterday, but they say it has nothing to do with politics. Nigerians Opera named managing director of Access Bank Kenya. And of course, we also have NUPRC named Nigeria's most transparent government agency. Okay, who name him? NSCDC arrests 28-year-old suspected fraudster in Adamawa. All right, that's the much we'll be taking from that. Let's go to the These Day newspaper. ADC celebrates as INEC confirms David Mark, national chairman, and Aregbesola as secretary. Enugu wins 100 million Naira Model Green State Award as Oluremi Tinubu unveils nationwide RHI Green Nigeria's Challenge. After another great failure, NLC demand audit of power sector infrastructure. All right, that is still on the These Day newspaper. In Italy, NNPC woos investors and highlights prospects in Nigeria's energy sector. UK finance institution firm launch facility to advance mini-grid use in Nigeria. And we also have nationwide blackout. NISO begins gradual restoration after power grid failure. Again, Nigeria power grid collapse and plunges 30 states into darkness. Sowore writes Facebook urges social media platform to reject DSS request for his ban and deactivation of his account. All right, that is what the DSS was writing to the social media to stop Sowere's account. How CBN reforms stable economy is opening domestic markets for FDI inflows. All right, those are the headlines that we can we can bring for you this morning. Let's get your reaction to any of these headlines. 911-20,022 0707 454 1014. Let's get calls. Good morning and welcome to Straight Talk.
Good morning, Barry Cosmas, my very good friend and brother.
Good morning, Chief.
My name is Chief Jude Ubada, your friend. I usually call from Nduchi, Imo State.
All right.
INEC finally recognizes David Mark led the ADC, their national secretary, among others. Wow. The recognition of David Mark led ADC and her national secretary, among others, something they do not, become uhuru for the party yet. As a monumental crisis that will eventually arise among their presidential hopefuls, like Atiku Abubakar, who is, ready to use money to buy over the delegates to vote for him and win, even when it is not yet the turn of the North to do so. Peter Obi, who has promised only one tenor to pave way for another to take over for him. Rotimi Amechi and others, that portends very great danger to her disintegrating and possibly going into extinction very soon, like other opposition political parties. Wherein lies the joy by David Mark, the national secretary and others, and including those that are actually supporting them. It is a food for thought for them.
Why don't you wait?
Enjoying them, to emulate those that are defected into a PC, to become more politically relevant in the next political dispensation, or content we die in a political death, then a word they say is enough for the wise. Thank you very much and God bless you.
Chief Jude, why don't you wait? Why wouldn't the APC wait for elections to come before you start telling people not to contest? Is it that you're afraid of contesting with other political parties? If not, they fear opposition mona talk. Well, the opposition is saying that the APC president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, does not have the strength to campaign around the country, and there's no basis of what he has to campaign. That is why he is trying to stop all opposition parties. Well, time will tell. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
Good morning. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. My name is Herbert Akoko.
All right, Albert, can you go?
From the Gen Z, that is my concern now. Our own Gen Z, they are busy pressing their phones, watching Big Brother. They don't care because their parents are still feeding them. But in other countries where they are feeling the pain, you block their internet or their whatever social media, and they have reacted. That is what people should do. Let government know when people are not happy with their policy. So let it be a lesson to our leaders that it will get to a time people may no longer hold their peace. So let them not wait for that time to happen to us. Let them start correcting things. People are really suffering in this country.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Barry, my brother in the studio.
I greet you. Welcome aboard, sir.
Yes, Barry. Nande GK, they call you here from Illume Chemical here, Zena.
GK, welcome, sir.
Barry, is here. Our government say things they tough. They want make cost of things based on food and other things come down. My brother, the same time, the business government, they busy. They add money for fuel. To make sure, say, even the barber on the street, if he carry gallon go there, then get commission for his head. They just need take and tax. You see, all these things where they do shows that they don't carry the masses, the good of the masses for their heart. They just want to enrich their pocket. Make they do the right thing. You don't destroy these other countries around us within India, how their own they happen. I beg. May they do the right thing before people come day wise. Come day wise.
Thank you.
Problem can't start. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Ndejike. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother Barry.
I greet you.
Barry, you have vowed not to pick my call again.
No, be me pick and so.
Barry, my name is Comrade Padek Chidozenwosu.
Okay.
And my location has not changed. I'm still calling from my hometown, Omokano Haji, the most peaceful community in Imo State.
Yeah.
Barry, I want to say that INEC is being economical with the truth for pretending that they don't know that politicians are already campaigning. It is very, very bad that in Nigeria here, once you elect a president or a governor, instead of him to face governance, the person will start campaigning for his second term that same day. It is very, very unfortunate. I just wish that INEC can change for good. Any day we get it right with INEC and judiciary, I think you have solved 90% of our problems here.
All right.
So then, having said that, in summary, I want to say that what happens to Nepal one day might be replicated here in Nigeria. Have a wonderful working day. I'm on Father from Okano Haji. God bless you.
All right. Thank you. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, brother.
Dr. John, good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Dr. John is calling from Redrod this morning.
Okay.
Brother Barry, on the issue of the president imposing, let me use that word, on the Fed to go on their way to find ways to reduce the cost of food items. I don't know how he's going to do that when his policies are really against that. Fuel prices are up, taxes here and there. Is he going to introduce a subsidy in transportation of food items from rural areas? Where is the data that he's going to use to make it successful? Just June this year, he declared that, the president declared that we are on the path to food sovereignty. Can you beat that? And just some days ago in Brazil, he'll let the global world know that his government is without corruption. Brother Barry, imagine that. You see, and this has led the likes of Sowore to call him a criminal. This act of deception is not to be encouraged.
At all.
Leaders should speak truth to governance and stand by it. In this way, the youth will find themselves responsible enough to support the programs of government, even in elections. The need for apathy in elections won't be there because the people will see how truthful and honest leadership is. But that bar is unfortunate. It's not going to work out. I don't say it's going to work out, except the president goes back to the roots of the problem before he can really curtail the incessant hike in food prices. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Keep the calls coming. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
I greet you.
Yeah, my name is Promise Abaso, and this beautiful morning I'm calling from somewhere in Ikenebu. Yeah, I've been listening with keen interest, Barry. What is happening in Nigeria is a mockery, it's a national mockery. Let me just put it that way. I've listened to Ompade Chidozenwosu, who made reference with Nepal, what's happening in Nepal. You will agree with me that Nepal is on fire. But yesterday I was just going through my social media platform and I saw so many things happening. The citizens were angry, trying to beat up their finance minister. And we are praying that such things shouldn't happen here anyway, even though so many persons might also be having a secret prayer for such to repeat, because Nigerians have suffered.
Yeah.
For how long are we going to, be called Nigerians suffering and smiling? No hope,
no future. The time of economic boom have turned to economic doom. And even the generation yet unborn cannot even have, a fresh air to breathe.
Okay.
So I think our leaders have to sit up, and the citizens of Nigeria have to advise themselves concerning the 2027 election that is coming, because 2027 election is a make or mar. We can get it now. If we don't get it now, it's forever. So let me end here so that other listeners can also contribute. Thank you and God bless you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you very much for your call. Let's go to our Facebook now and give you some messages there. Chief Ben Okwano from Awaka is saying, my courageous Barry, former INEC chairman Mahmoud. Is he former now? He's not. His time is not finished now. I mean, advocating for reforms in INEC is belated and very unfortunate. Here is a man who conducted the worst election in Nigeria, the least credible, coming this late to pontificate on sanctity of electoral process. Mahmoud must apologize to Nigerians for wrecking our very nationality. Thank you very much, Chief Ben Okwano there. We also have Unwachukwu Elias Jr. from Ogbak, who says, good morning, Barry. One name I'm highlighting on the newspaper review this morning. I like what is happening in Nepal, how I wish Nigerian people and the youths will leave greed and hypocrisy, leave their comfort zone filled with thorns and tiny remains from the greedy politicians we have here, and say no to bad government. Things are getting out of control. Nigeria is in helpless state. Now the doctors are embarking on a strike tomorrow. What will be the fate of the common man? God have mercy. That is the gospel according to Elias Jr. from Ogbako. Well, we also have Kamalu Peter Nemeka. He says, good morning, Barry. Artificial intelligence is a form of modern slavery. Wow. Are you serious? It means the Western world will always think for you, thereby making our brain dormant. Maybe the Nepal government has good intentions, but was not able to communicate to their Gen Z. Protest is what you get when you fail to carry your people along with your policies. Thank you very much, Kamalu. We also have Krisa Farm says, good morning, my respected Barry. Igbos becoming kings outside the shores of Nigeria is never an issue. Igbos are everywhere in the world, and they make home in the town or country they found themselves. Therefore, you don't use gun and cutlass to get kings in foreign lands. It is your contributions that announce your personality. Remember, it is said that all well that ends well. All right, Chris Afam, that is reacting to our conversation later on the show. This one says, good morning, my eloquent and majestic Barry. It is most disheartening, disgusting, and unfortunate that in spite of all that Nigerians are passing through, almost to the point of suffocation, and some people pride themselves in praising the ruling government. Faith, please help me ask them if they are living in a different country aside Nigeria. On electoral reform, Nigerians are completely docile. That is why Yakubu Mahmoud has the guts to open his big mouth to address Nigerians whom he subjected to untold hardship and terrible heart pains. Ezine Lady Julie Nasike sending that one. Let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
Good morning to you, my brother. Welcome aboard. Name and submission.
Yeah, but this is the first one, the first-time caller.
Wow, first-time caller. A bell of blessing for you. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the family.
It's all right, Barry, but I listen to your programs, but this time I want to make a comment.
All right, that's great.
So, Barry, quickly, I remain Honorable Prince Nkemo Kenwa,
right.
And I'm calling for this beautiful Thursday morning.
Honorable, can you reduce the volume on your radio a little bit?
Okay. Is it okay now?
Turn it down a little. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Go ahead.
Very quickly, on the issue of the registration of INEC, okaying the registration of AGC,
yeah.
They welcome development.
Okay.
That they say in the Igbo, for now, we who want this bad government to go, let's go on AGC. The internal wrangling of the positions must come to an end. But I can put it to you that by December, ADC will find a way. They'll find a way and put everything in order. But what I'm hearing is saying that it's still like the pressure is too much on Atiku to give way.
Okay.
I think he's considering that.
Well,
so I'm not that you will watch and listening. Because they don't just come and talk anyhow and try to give people wrong information. So, but this morning, I give kudos to IDEC. They have done the needful.
Okay.
I don't want to say that thing because we have been talking so much on the other issues. Look at the national grid. Going to come out this again. Under Tinubu administration, but if you know that this is the 60th time the national grid have gone. And under Jonathan, it's only one. Check your record, Barry. Under Jonathan, it's only one.
Yeah.
What are we not saying? Have a wonderful morning.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you very much. Dr. Mrs. Olebara from Owerri said, how can there be food security when government cannot live up to its basic responsibilities of protecting lives and property? Farmers are being killed and kidnapped in their farms and are afraid to go to farm. In some places, they pay taxes to bandits before they are allowed to go to their farms. This has led to high cost of food items and scarcity in the markets. How can there be food security when there is no light, high cost of fuel, kerosene, diesel, and gas are contributing factors? Where do we go from here? That is the message from Dr. Mrs. Olebara. All right, we also have this on Chief Ben Okwanu also sent in this message says, my courageous Barry, the uprising in Nepal is an amazing wake-up call for those saddled with responsibility to govern the sensitive or to be sensitive to the sensibilities of the governed. When people are pushed to the wall, their reactions can be terrible. May we not get to that ugly height. Thank you very much, Chief Ben Okwano, for your message. Oscar Jude says, Mr. Barry, I wish Nigerian citizens will have the same mind of Nepal people. We don't want anarchy because let's not pray for that. It doesn't end well for nobody. 30 persons have already died in Nepal. We don't want to lose our youths to the bullets of security operatives who, instead of trying to use rubber bullets, spray bullet, water to dispel open life ammunition on protesting people. That is not what we want in this country. Recall, every time we want to do protest, that's when we'll see the kind of weapons we've never seen before in Nigerian police. And sometimes I wonder if they do have that kind of weapon, but it's what happens, and they come up every now and then. Well, thank you, Oscar. Credo is that says, good morning, Echo FM, good morning, Barry. Credo is from Oko here, Isikinesi, Diato South. Barry, I'm not supporting the so-called IGBO in Lagos or any other state because it's causing problem to our people. Okay? It says it's causing problems to our Igbo brothers outside Igbo land. Though it's just for political interest, I urge Igbos to stop that madness called IGBO in diaspora and focus on the ones we have here in Igbo land. God bless Igbo. That is coming from Credo Ezete. We also have this one. Oscar Jude says, good morning, sir, Mr. Barry Cosmos. Thank you very much for your wonderful greeting. I appreciate you. Let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, good morning.
I greet you.
It's Emeka. I'm calling from Wedra.
Emeka, go ahead.
My brother, have you seen that we Nigeria, we are not yet ready for that change we are clamoring for?
Okay.
Have you seen the people that are serious? Those Nepal Gen Z generation.
Yeah.
My brother, I want to ask, this social media now, they banned there and they took to the streets. Social media not been banned here. Last time they banned tweet and nothing happened. So my brother, like I always say, that fear of death is what is holding everybody down. But over there, my brother, they know that if I fall down, those that are alive will make sure that they achieve their objective and goals. So let us stop complaining in this country until we are ready for that change. At least the majority or overwhelming the majority of us, we do what is needed. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Emeka, for your contribution. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my very good friend Barry. How are you doing this morning?
I'm very fine. Welcome aboard. Name and submission.
Thank you. Olumbife Onyez Ezelobo. Barry, how is the week going?
Fine, we thank God.
I laugh in a Swahili language. National grid dropping, maybe this is the 15th time or the 17th time in this present government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Yoruba-led government. Is it not laughable? That should show you that this man is doing business with Nigeria. And we know him as a businessman. So, and I believe he didn't tell Nigeria that he came to rule them. Rather, he said he is his turn. And you are seeing his turn. So I don't know why we should lamenting and crying over. I believe what we need to do now is to have to send this man back into either Lagos or Osun State where he came from. So the issue of national grid dropping again without us even having light is laughable. It's laughable. I don't know where we are heading to, whereby the countries like Nigerians are supplying with light, Ghana, Togo, Niger, and other part of the Africa are having steady light. Our own is dropping every day in this present administration.
All right.
I don't know. That's why this Canadian court declared APC and PDP a terrorist party. We are seeing where the terrorism is coming and going to. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, my brother. All right, let's get this message. Ike MS, right on Barry C. Good morning. This morning, I'm enjoying your program here at Old Road. Thank you very much, Ike. Eme Chike God. Happy bright morning, the majestic straight talker. Barry Cosmos, the Okenze Buruburu one on radio. I still remain Elder Chijoke texting and striking at Irete. Elder Chijoke, which strike you want go again? I bet no go strike. If you go strike now, I'm not going to hear your voice. All right. INEC needs structural and spiritual rejuvenation that will give electorates elements of confidence. APC is a party of, oh God, I'm not going to use the word he used. It's a party of whatever you said, from the head to the last man. Otherwise, why are they so scared of opposition? Barry, tell me I'm wrong to say that under a free and fair contest, that Bat will be disgraced out. Enjoy your day. Thank you, Elder Chideke, my very good elder there from Irete. Alex Chuku says, I see nothing wrong in that way. However, you reside in your home. All right. Maybe you are reacting to the topic we'll be discussing later on. Wisdom, David Alozie says, wisdom from MCC is just a matter of time. What is happening in Nepal will be a child's play to what awaits our leaders if they don't change from their pattern of leadership. Thank you, Uncle Barry. Thank you, Wisdom, for your message. Julie Stainless says, hello, Barry. Nigeria should pray that what happened in Nepal does not occur in Nigeria. Our politicians should be where? Is in Lady Julie Nasike, architects are OPZ Women. Says the Buruburu One, Generalissimo International, Barry Cosmos, the IGBO has come to stay as a rallying point and cultural hegemonic conundrum for the Igbos in foreign places. The Yoruba has a long-standing rivalry, hatred, jealousy, and envy for the Igbos. It doesn't start today, or it didn't start today. Here in Owerri, Imo State, the Hausa has their emir, will live with it, and everyone goes their way. For the Yoruba, it is a different thing. These congenital bigots are so divisive, but the Igbo should get some sense and stop investing in Yoruba land. There's something these people know about the unity of Nigeria. Most people do not know. Otherwise, they won't be behaving the way they do. All right, Chibuka Obed Waneri says, good morning, Mr. Barry. On the Nepal issue, maybe the Gen Z in Nepal is different from the Gen Z in Nigeria, but we still share similar politicians who don't care for us. What a way of capturing it. Thank you, Obed. We also have Uzeshi Buchiken. He says, good morning, Buruburu. Nice topic from Echo FM this morning. You people He said, you people are doing well, but I wonder why the media in Nigeria, where is this your message running to? Say, I wonder why the media in Nigeria is not talking about what is happening in Nepal. It's good like that, and we all understand. But I pray that our corrupt politicians are seeing and watching it, and the poor masses are also seeing it too. Thanks and remain blessed, Guru Guru. God bless you, my brother. Julie Stanley sent in another one. Say, hello, Barry. Nigerians have had recently in Nepal. I pray what happened there does not occur in Nigeria. Our politicians should be very careful. As in Lady Julie Ben Osondu says, I like it because it happens a lot where you are outside your home. Adache Sunday says, good morning, Barry. Very soon, what happened in Nepal will happen here. And I will be the one to push Tinubu at the back. My brother, don't put yourself for yawa. All right. Thank you very much, Adache Sunday. All right. Let's, I think we have 1 more minute to go. So let's take our final caller on the newspaper review. Good morning. I greet you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, this is Samuel from Nazi.
All right, Samuel, quickly, no time.
Okay. Without wasting much of our time, but you know, our president is not in this country and he's giving order. 2 weeks, he travels and he will be outside in another man's country where the president resides in his country and he's giving order in his own country. You know that man is not a good president. So, if he is there giving order, his orders does not hold water.
All right, thank you very much. Our time is up. Let's go to our news update. Before we go, bonjour, Mr. Barry. I pray that what is happening in Nepal occur in Nigeria because I see it coming if we don't do the needful. All right, this other one says, good morning, Barry Cosmos, Kenzan Radio. My name is Cliff David Namdi Ogukoro from Umonjoirete. My take on this issue is that if you are in Rome, behave like Romans. If the Yoruba nation doesn't permit a coronation of citizenship titles in their land by non-indigens, why go to another man's land to desecrate their culture? Why do our people like to cause trouble? If you are hungry for chieftaincy titles, come back home and take as many as you desire. That is if it merits it. Diego, have a great day. The Buruburu one. It went further to say, Bola Tinubu said to crash the price of foodstuff. What this implies is that he is aware of people suffering all this while but chose to keep quiet. How is he going to do that? Is he going to import food, commodities to ameliorate the hunger ravaging the nation? Anyway, let's see how possible it will be. Let it not be saying we are tired of their fake and empty promises. God bless you, the Guru One on radio. All right, thank you. Okay, we also have this other one quickly before we go. Says, all right, I think I've taken that on Facebook. All right, it's time for us to go take the news update at 10. When we come back, the program continue. Recall, we are going to be discussing the Eze controversy of Eze in diaspora. Let's go to our news desk and bring you the news update. All right, from the newsroom of Echo FM, we bring you the news update at 10. Here are the latest stories we are keeping tabs on. The federal government has inaugurated an inter-ministerial committee to oversee preparations for Nigeria's 65th Independence Day anniversary. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, said the committee will ensure proper coordination of activities that highlight unity and patriotism as the nation marks the milestone. According to the program released, events will begin with a press conference on September 25th, followed by the Jumarat prayers, women's and youth activities, an arts exhibition, and a church service. The anniversary will climax with a public lecture, presidential broadcast, and the Independence Day parade on October 1st, 2025. President Bola Tinubu has directed a Federal Executive Council committee to fast-track measures aimed at reducing the rising cost of food across Nigeria. Minister of State for Agriculture, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, said the move is focused on guaranteeing safe passage of farm produce and reducing transport bottlenecks. He explained that the government will also launch a farmer soil health scheme to boost productivity, alongside cooperative reforms to mobilize resources for rural farmers. The initiatives, he added, are part of Tinubu's broader vision of achieving food sovereignty and ensuring that Nigerians enjoy affordable and nutritious food. People, including 4 children, have been confirmed dead in a fatal accident along the Owerri-Onitsha Expressway in Imo State. Police spokesman Henry Okoye said the crash occurred when a gas tanker driving against traffic rammed into a commuter bus, leaving at least 8 others injured. The police, in collaboration with the Federal Road Safety Corps and emergency responders, cleared the wreckage and restored traffic flow. Authorities have launched an investigation into the incident, while safety advocates are calling for stricter enforcement of traffic laws and closer monitoring of articulated vehicles to prevent a similar tragedy. Demanded the immediate reinstatement of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, who has been suspended from the Senate for 6 months. The party said her prolonged absence undermines democratic values and denies fair representation to the people of Kogi Central. In a statement, ADC spokesman Bolaji Abdullahi insisted that the senator's suspension has broader implications for governance and women's participation in politics. The party stressed that democracy must be safeguarded by allowing her to resume legislative duties without further delay. The Oyo State Police Command has rescued an Egyptian national who was kidnapped at Alomaja in Oluyole local government area of the state. Commissioner of Police Femi Haruna ordered a swift rescue operations that saw security operatives comb forests and border communities between Oyo and Ogun states. Police spokesperson Adewale Usifeso confirmed that the victim was rescued unharmed and no ransom was paid. The commander assured residents of his commitment to public safety and urged them to remain vigilant by promptly reporting any suspicious movement in their communities. Nigerian Football Federation has disowned a press statement that singled out Super Eagles players for criticism after their 1-1 draw against South Africa in the World Cup qualifiers. NFF Communications Director Ademola Olajire said the federation views the game as a collective effort and will not tolerate scapegoating of individual players. Nigeria sits third in Group C with 11 points, trailing leader South Africa on 17 points. The Super Eagles must now win their final matches against Lesotho and Benin Republic while hoping other results go their favor to secure a place in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Natural gas workers are suspended its 2-day strike after reaching a resolution with the Dangote Group. Nupeng President Williams Akporea said the agreement allows for the unionization of refinery workers and drivers, which was the major cause of the crisis. Before the resolution, petroleum tanker drivers had downed tools and suspended fuel loading activities at depots in Lagos, Warri, and other cities, raising fears of nationwide scarcity. The suspension of the strike has now brought relief to the oil and gas supply chain. On the foreign scene, right-wing American activist Charlie Kirk has been shot dead while addressing an event at Utah Valley University. The assassination has sent shockwaves through U.S. politics and heightened concerns about rising political violence in the country. Kirk was a key ally of President Donald Trump and co-founder Turning Point USA, a conservative youth organization. He played a significant role in mobilizing youth voters for the Republicans, making him one of the most influential voices on the American right. And that's all for the news update at 10 as edited by Benjamin Joseph. For more information and inquiries, visit our social media platforms. On Facebook is Echo FM. On X is at EchoFM_over. On Instagram and YouTube, Echo FM 100.7. You can also listen to us anywhere in the world by clicking on www.echofm.net or search for Echo FM on Radio Garden. And that's the news update at 10. Welcome back to the show, everybody. It is time now for us to go to have this conversation. Recall, listeners, I'll prefer we have the more experienced people to talk while the younger generation should listen, because this is education. It's not about whether it is right for you to have Igbos in diaspora that are kings in another man's land, and they demand such respect. Does it go against the tradition and the customs of the people? Okay, in Ghana, we recall what happened where you went to buy acres of land to declare an Igbo nation and declare yourself king. and that has been happening. Right now in Lagos State, I think that incident generated a lot of rancor where the police had to go and arrest a purported, self-acclaimed Igwe of Igbos, Ndigbo, in Lagos State, and that became a very big issue. So the question is, why do we have Igbo kings in another man's land? How can you have a king in another man's land? How can you also have emirs in another man's land? The simple answer is, it brings a rallying point for the people. It brings leadership that helps to end either dispute, protect, and of course help their own comrades in that particular community. But why is it that the activities of these Igbos or the emirs in particular in different lands, it's always at crossroads with the people there, particularly the Igbo kings in diaspora? We don't hear that about emirs in this place, because I think they just have to deal with the people. Over here, we have the emir of the Hausa community, the Hausa Fulani, a very learned man who is also a colleague, a Futuite. We've met a couple of times. For one of these days, I'm going to invite him here to come and have a conversation. But why do we have problems continuously in Lagos and in Yoruba land? Well, Igbo individuals established Ezendigbo, or ceremonial kings, outside their ancestral land to provide leadership and community organization for the dispersed Igbo population. Well, a practice that crashes or causes controversy and clashes with traditional Igbo decentralized governing systems, where authority is held by elders and councils. And that is exactly what I used to know. The elders of that place are the leaders of those people, those communities outside the Igbo land. I don't know how we now have kings in diaspora. So I would like you out there to help me explain our elders, the likes of Elder Richard, please, if you can call in. I'll just give you that time, please call. The likes of F.I. Agba, the senior citizen, and of course, Mazoku, Oku JP, all of you, please. I'd like to learn more, and I want the Gen Zs to learn more, because these Gen Zs are the ones causing all this problem. Now, again, you go to Lagos and declare Lagos as a no man's land. It's everybody's land. You now have authority. And the Igbos and the Yorubas have been having this concerted efforts of superiority. The Igbos have bought half of the lands, and the Yorubas that sold the land are now trying to get back relevance in such places. So when you buy, you sell one, give one Igbo man, the next plot, you sell, give another man. Is the Igbo not going to form a community? So what is wrong if they decide to have a leader and name him as Igbo? So these are all conflicting issues. So I would like to have you, the kings like the Inri of Onisha, the larger Igbo society is characterized by village republicanism and the spirit of democratic communalism, which makes the imposition of a centralized king figure in the diaspora, although the former British imposed warrant chief system, problematic and often resisted. So these are all things. The elders used to be leaders, not kings, outside the community. The eldest man there will lead his people. And of course, like that, no rancor. Where did we have to bring Ezendigbo outside of Igbo land? Well, that is our conversation this morning. Let's learn together. 0911-20,022 or 0707-454-1014. I like to have as many callers as possible. Please, 1 minute, everybody. Just go straight and tell us what you want to say. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome aboard, Saya.
Vale, this is Zuma. I'm calling from Omok.
All right, Zuma from Omok. Zuma, are you an Igbo man?
Yeah, I'm an Igbo man. You know, this is an Igbo of 18. I'm really surprised because my place here, Omok, is also an Igbo land. We are Igbos. I was surprised to see that they also inaugurate Ezendigbo in this place, in Igbo land. And I just found out that this Ezendigbo is not just for the interest of the Igbo, it's just for personal gains, for political recognition and all the rest. Because even the one that was inaugurated in this place, you still see trouble within them. The Anambra are saying that they are the one that's supposed to take over this, that they are the senior, they are buoyant. Just even the Imo State, they say they will not be part of it. So many of them are against the Igbo in this place. So I don't find out that it's not even in the interest of the Igbos. It's just for personal gains and whatsoever. So it's not only Yoruba land. Even in many places I've been to, you see them, not even as the indigenous of the place causing the trouble. It's them within the Igbos are the ones even creating troubles for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All the way from Omok. We have this all over Nigeria and the world all over. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Cosmos.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ama.
Yes, this is Amma that calls from Uche Street in Owerri. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, my brother.
You see, Mr. Cosmos, to me, I don't see anything wrong about a particular tribe having a king in the Sora. It depends on the fact if the host tribe accepts it or the host community accepts it, fine. So I don't see anything wrong with it. But, and the home tribe accepts it, their own home tribe, the home tribe of the king accepts it, or the tribe, the diaspora tribe that wants to establish a kingship there accepts it, fine. But in the case of Igbo land, it's like in Igbo land, they don't accept that kind of diaspora kingship. And it's like the host community or the host tribe, like Lagos or Yoruba land, they don't accept such a thing.
Okay.
So, but I think in Igbo, that of Emir is accepted here. If you want to come here, another tribe want to come here, establish kingship here, then it's accepted. But if it is not accepted, any tribe that doesn't accept it in its own land, I think that should be forgotten. Because you do according to what your host tribe dictates, as far as that thing is in line with their customs and, tradition.
All right.
That's my position on this. Amma from Uche.
Thank you, Amma. Hello, good morning. Oh, we lost that caller. So the police arrest Obi of Lagos and foil installation. Now we have Obi of Inisha. It's Obi of Lagos. Oh, boy. All right, let's get another caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
I greet you, sir.
My name is Herbert Jacob from Port Harcourt Road.
All right.
Yeah, Barry, I think it's an aberration for someone to go outside the shores of Igbo land to answer Eze. It is not right.
Okay.
You could be the leader in that area, to call yourself President General, whatever you want to call yourself, but not Eze. I've not seen anybody from Yoruba extraction in Igbo land calling himself whether Alafi or whatever, or you've not seen Oba here. Why should our own be different? Let us respect our culture and tradition. Eze should only be in this domain, not outside the shores of Igbo land.
Okay.
That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Calvert, for your call. Well, let's just give you the story of this new latest one that happened just yesterday or 2 days ago. The Lagos Police Command has arrested a 65-year-old man, Chubike Azubike, for allegedly parading himself as the Obi of Lagos. He was apprehended alongside 3 alleged accomplices while attempting to stage an unlawful unveiling ceremony. The arrest comes against the backdrop of growing ethnic tension, particularly among youths on the various social media platforms who exchange banters over Azubike's planned installation. Well, Azubike is said to be an indigene of the Obodoku ancient kingdom in the Idiato North local government area of Imo State, was arrested with Chief Chibuzo Ani, who is age 57, Chief Martins Nwa Odika, 65 years, and Ikechukwu Franklin Nnamdi, a 41-year-old man. The 4 are currently being held at the command headquarters in Ikeja. Well, according to the police, in a statement shared on X.com, on Wednesday, the group had planned to unveil a prototype. Now, this is where the whole thing got my attention. They have planned to unveil a prototype of a purported 1.5 billion naira palace of Obi of Lagos. State on Saturday, September 13, 2025. That is exactly what they are planning to do on Saturday. Not now. But they just arrested them before that day. Well, at the Apple Hall in Amowo in Odifin, the command noted that the venue was swiftly sealed off by security operatives to prevent public disturbance and protect unsuspecting citizens from being deceived. All right. A prototype, 1.5 billion. Good morning.
Good morning, Sabari.
I greet you.
Yeah, Samuel, I called back.
Okay.
Sabari,
Ew.
just like the last caller said, it is an aberration. It is not right for you to travel all the way from Igbo land and you go to another place where they have their own culture and their own way of doing things. You go and impose yourself as the king of your own community, that side, in their land. You live in your own home. It's not right. Okay, who crowns you the Eze of that land? Is it your people or is it your Igwe in your place or their place, their Oba of their place? So, have you had anybody come to answer Oba of Lagos in Igbo land? They have not done that. There is no emir of Kano in Imo State. They answer Sariki Hausawa. That's a leader of Hausa in Imo State. That's what they answer. They don't answer Igwe of that place. So our people are power hungry. They want people to recognize them that they have arrived. That's why they are doing that nonsense. So anybody that did it does not do anything right.
All right, thank you.
God bless you, sir.
A caller told me, or said here on this show now, that they have emirs in various states. Do we have emir of which state in particular? Emir of Hausa, emir of Fulani in Imo State. They have their leader, traditional ruler, they call Seriki and the rest of them, just like Seriki is like a title for an elder or a leader. So I don't know. I stand corrected. If there is, please let me know. Okay. Now, recall the story that happened in Ghana. This man, he calls himself His Royal Majesty Eze Dr. Chukwudi Jude Ihenetu. He's a self-styled Igbo king in Ghana, where the raging storm on his royal status and domain is the reason some Ghanaians are calling for Nigerians to leave their country. Well, he plans to build a 50-acre kingdom for Ndigbo in Old Ningo area in Ghana, but the Ghanaians don't want any of that. Now you go to somebody's land and start doing this kind of thing. How do you expect the people to see you? Are you not going to be putting yourself as a threat to the host community? Are you not inviting hostility towards you? Those are questions. I need answers. Please help me out, people. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome aboard.
Sorry, I greet you.
Good morning, sir. Welcome. I greet you.
Hi, buddy.
Now, buddy, the quarter of my body is small today.
Yes, I'm here. Darling, I'm afraid something like this.
Away, bell of blessing for you. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, I really thank God. I've been trying all this while. I never get you. I can't get you. I don't get you today.
All right. Thank you very much for calling. I'll be patient.
And for matter of fact, my dear brother, Hebrews, when they're hungry for power, when they're hungry, let us know them anywhere where they're there. The thing where we know they do, then we try to do them. And they think they cause trouble. Then they call Igbo. And a particular people, now they do this thing. Not the Igbo in general.
Okay.
I was born and brought up in the Yoruba land.
Okay.
In that place, we have these people that are the head of the Igbo. In case anything happen around there, they will call them so that they can settle that matter. There's not somebody being an Igbo of a place. It is not done. And here too, they have that authority. They are only, if anything, like if outside people, when anything happens, They will go to them, bring them out, say this is what your people are doing. Then they will come and begin to solicit and say, we are sorry. But I never see a place where they say, if you go there, say you don't become a leader or king of the place. It is not done. It is uncalled for. So we should be very careful the way we do things here. The Igbos, so many of them are really bringing death in our name. Wherever they go, they say the Igbo, the Igbo. Where it is, we are not the Igbo that are doing things. Now them, for their own selfish interest, for their own selfish aggrandizement. It is not for all Igbos. So I think when I say make I tell you this. And secondly, my brother.
Thank you. You don't take enough time, my brother. I don't allow you as a first caller. I have finished. Sharp, sharp, sharp. All right. Thank you, my brother. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, this is Awuja calling from Nekede.
Okay, Awuja.
Don't be offended. This impersonation, this and that, will be of this, any of this in another person's seat or what. What actually is the purpose? And what do they gain? I think this is fraudulent act. It's a very nasty behavior. That you go and who are you governing there? And what is the achievement? What is the ultimate aim? What is the purpose for all those unnecessary aggrandization or something like it's act of impersonation. Then, okay, can you, like I'm from Imo State, can I, if I do that kind of thing in Lagos, anywhere at all, can I come to Imo State and prove that this is what I am? And who actually installed you that? People should know their limitations and never to unnecessarily duplicate issues. And something, more especially something that there is no gain for you. It's a fraudulent act, and it may be they intend to gather some people, use their influences, then to get something from them. And when they get it, we then go send that to the appropriate UB or OSA or this or that. And all these things are very immaterial. What are they actually clamoring for?
All right.
Let them go and sit down, my dear, and they look for something that will benefit us other than unnecessary things. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. One more call before we go to the messages. Good morning.
Hello, Mr. Barry.
I greet you.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, welcome.
I'm a first-time caller.
Wow, welcome aboard. Our family is growing.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome to the
I'm
family.
very fine, sir.
All right.
Well, I will consider myself as a Gen Z with a little knowledge of history.
Okay.
So, well, before I know, sir, I believe that the Igbo race, the Igbo culture are not known for kings, are not known for traditional rulers. They have elders in charge of particular communities. They have elders who are in charge of particular, all I put is like I say, communities, not kings or traditional rulers. This was something that was imposed by the British because of the needed somebody to talk with on behalf of the particular community or particular state or whatsoever. But it has never been like that ever from the history of the Igbo people. Well, to cut the long story short, what is happening in Ghana and in Lagos is totally unacceptable, and it's something that we need to look into as Igbo people. Because of this will turn to something political very soon, where Imo State want to be the next king or ruler. Abia State want to be the next Anambra, other parts of people, they want to be the next ruler. Because very soon, like, it's going to some they'll start voting or they'll start having problems within the Igbo people in that particular place that they are residing. So I believe this is something that we should not be part of and it's not recommend. And this is totally unacceptable by the Igbo people. Thank you very much, and God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. All right, let's go to the messages. Success Chuku from Umunkota Nekade, the Okenze, the Guru One on radio, Mr. Barry Cosmos. A very good morning to you, my big brother. APC government led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu have not come to rescue Nigeria, rather they have come to take what they think belong to them at the expense of innocent citizens of Nigeria. So let us not be surprised if what we are seeing today and nothing on earth can be done to change their mind, because they're out on a mission and no one can stop them. All I know is nothing lasts forever, as God is what is a word from a distance, okay? Have a wonderful Thursday, the Radio Marshal. Thank you very much. Chimam Kwahena just says, Honorable Ihena just South, it says, Barry, your mood this morning is not encouraging. I don't beg you, and I say, anyhow you see me today, taken like that. I'm very strong because it's because I just can't keep all of you hanging. That's why I had to struggle to be here. So just bear with me. I'm really, really struggling here to be here. Please, just bear with me today. Say, I said, did your wife made you angry? No, not at all. It's just some very, very little issues with health, but by God's grace, we'll be fine. You know the last. I would jog them out, come up from my system pretty soon. He said, let me tune to another station whenever you are happy. Let me know. No. Come relax, my brother. I am happy. It's just the vibe, the strength is not in there today. I'm managing. I begged you people before we started the programs. Anyhow you see me today, take me like that, okay? No vex. Credo is that it says, good morning, Mr. Barry. Credo is from Okoya, Sikenesi, Idiota. Barry, I'm not supporting the so-called Ezendigbo in Lagos or any other state because it's causing problems to our Igbo brothers outside Igbo land. Though it's just for political interest, I urge Igbos to stop the madness called Ezendigbo in diaspora and focus on the ones we have in our Igbo land. God bless Igbo. Nwachuka Elias Jr. from Ogbako on the topic of the day. Barry, one name. I think it's not a big deal, but I think due process is highly recommended before you do something outside your space. Before you do something outside your home, try to inquire about the do's and don'ts, rules and regulations governing that particular place. You can't go to someone's land and do anyhow without prior knowledge of how things are being done there. It's just a misplacement of hierarchy. Enjoy your day, Barry, one name. All right, Julie Stainless says, the topic of the day, good morning once again, my majestic Barry. The topic of the day refers, the Igbo should realize that the word Igbo rings as an unpalatable bell in the ears of non-Igbo brethren. Why go to another area, our land, to show off flamboyantly? We are worried and feeling highly disappointed that the Igbos leave Igbo to invest humongously outside Igbo land, in spite of what happened to us after the Nigerian Biafran War. Have we ever heard of any non-Igbo building, even a simple and small 2-bedroom in Igbo land? The Igbos should please borrow sense and control their flamboyancy. All right, that is from Ezine Lady Julie Nasike. All right, we have this Oparaji Bruno. It's a good morning, my distinguished radio presenter, Mr. Barry. Most of these moves via the Igbo kings in diaspora are politically motivated. That's the reason for the negative outcomes for now. MCUG, Bruno from Egbu. MCUG also sent in this message, says, please get well soon, stay safe and strong always. Thank you very much, my brother. Hope by tomorrow when I come back here, I'll be bouncing. At least I know that one. Good morning.
Good morning, my friend, Mr. Barry. Once again, how are you doing this morning?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Olumbi Onyeze Ezelobo. Barry, do you know why our elders will not overemphasize this issue this morning? Nna mụrụ m ndị Igbo ji atụlili ọsụ onye ụkwụ ọgịga ọgịga ayaka onye isi awụ ihe ama. Ịghọtala? So on this issue of Igbo traditional food, maybe wherever they go, nna m enweghị ihe dị wrong with it. That may just asụsụ Igbo taa ka anyị hapụ ịghọta ha onwe anyị. Enweghị ihe jọrọ njọ n'ime ya. N'ihi na gị bịakwa n'akwụkwọ nsọ anyị na-agụ. God gwara Abraham, ọ sị ya gapụga hapụ ezinne ya gawa ebe ọbụla anyị ya ga-eru, ebe ọbụla anyị ya ruru, ya ga-elebe ahụ na gịnị kuchie ya. And gị bịa trace one history of Igbos. Apart from Igbos na-enwe nga ị ga-etrecheta history ebe ha si bịa na obodo anyị hụrụ nwaanyị akpọga Nigeria. Ndị ọzọ niile, ndị ugwu bịara abịa, ndị ofe mmanụ bịara abịa n'obodo anyị hụrụ nwaanyị akpọga Nigeria. So Gabia na Cheba Sakura Ghana, only Igbo na la Ghana, Mr. Barry, mo and Wekemo, and with them opportunity, in that number, ama or the young man.
And I don't talk, you have changed my program to Igbo program. I beg, you go talk to Uche with that Igbo language because
so our Igbo, the traditional ruler of Igbo in the in Ghana. I spoke with that young man one particular day. So I was opportune through his friend. I asked him, what is the problem? He found out that there is an Igbo adage that says, a brother of Mbarawa, Nejaba Mbarawa, Okonafo. So yeah, one our brothers from the other states, Anambra, was against it because that the young man is from either from Njaba or Wangele. No, so they don't want him to be in that position. That was the reason. So not that the Ghanaians are not against him.
Okay, hold on.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, hold on. Don't give false information.
I'm giving you if you like, I will get the number. I will give you in this program. You call him.
Hold on, it's not about him. I'm not interested in him. We can call him, no problem. But the Ghanaians who were protesting in the streets, every corner, I said they were not against it. What do you mean? But definitely, no, what I want to ask you before you go, what I want to ask you is that, is it right for you to go to a place and without their consent, you declare yourself a king? Who gave you that authority to do that in another man's land where they have their own king? And the king watches over everybody, both indigenes and visitors and people living in that community. So what you're doing now, you are now sharing power with the king of that place. Do you expect them to now let you be? That's what we need to understand. So what do you have to say in that regard of the people who have a king already and you now bring another king to oversee a group of people living in their land? How do you reconcile that?
Mr. Barre, my friend, first of all, this is a subject of investigation for you as a journalist. If you can get a contact to Ghanaian journalists over there to investigate if the thing goes through the right process or if our brothers are over there that is kicking against him. Because for them, somebody can come out just like as we are seeing here in Nigeria, where you see that people will carry a placard that we are against maybe INEC. People that will carry another one will come and say we are in support of INEC. That's how it's going now. So somebody can collect money, say, protest against these people. They come out and protest. I don't think that somebody will go to Ghana and start answering a king or building a palace or thereabouts without going the due process of the culture of the land and all the rest. So that's what you need to do as a journalist.
I understand.
And in the area of Yoruba here, we all know what is going on in the system. So there's no doubt about every other thing. So wherever our people goes and they see they can plant a Dixon as a Igbo Dixon, let them plant it. That's my take this morning. Thank you and God bless you.
All right, thank you very much. That's what we're saying. These things, they look ordinary to the eyes, but there's a lot of undertone. Because I recall in Benue State when Abacha wanted to create Kasanala State away from Benue State. And some people brought it to the Totif then that if they do divider state, it means there will be another Totif dividing his power. And that the Totif refused to assign his signature and refused with all his cabinets and all that for that state to be created. That is what, people who have short-sightedness do. But unfortunately, we see these things every day in Lagos. Yes, we know that there are political undertones. A lot of Igbos are in Lagos, and they are doing exceptionally well. And, of course, they build mansions. They are in the market. The whole of this place, they have taken over the business spheres. Yes. But when you want to now go into the traditional stool, like an Obi of Lagos, just like Oba of Lagos, it means you are having two powerful kings in Lagos State. Who should the people obey? There is an Oba of Lagos. He oversees everybody, whether Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, everybody that is in Lagos is under his jurisdiction. And you now have an Igbo Obi of Lagos. So the Igbos will obey the Obi of Lagos. The Yorubas will obey the Oba of Lagos. Is that it? I don't understand. So I just want those of you saying that it is good and it's not good. Can somebody add up to what I just said? Good morning. All right, we lost that caller. Please do call us back, please. I wish I could have my elders to call this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
I greet you.
Yes, this is the first time calling.
Oh, okay. Today, a lot of first-time callers are joining us. Bell of blessing for you.
I want to add as much this from the experience I have. I live in Kaduna.
Okay. Are you an Igbo man?
I'm in the north. I'm from Imo, yeah.
All right. What's your name?
My name is Amadi Cletus.
Okay, Amadi Cletus. Go ahead.
In the whole north as a whole, I will tell you that Igbos has Igbo.
Okay.
In the whole Igbo, even in Kaduna, we have Igbo.
Okay.
We have councillors within ourselves.
Mm.
But we don't have trouble. We have a problem because we rapport with the emirs.
Mm.
When we are doing anything, the emirs will be there with us. When the emirs are doing, we will be there also with them.
Okay.
So anything that the Yoruba people are very wicked. They don't want to see Igbo. They are logical to follow them well. You know?
Okay.
They are logical. Even this Kashim where they talk, if they talk like Yoruba man, I know so like Yoruba man. They don't like Igbos.
Leave my man Kasim there. Now, the question I want to ask you, Agami Cletus, is that
ask me.
If you are in somebody's land who doesn't want this thing, must you go ahead and do it? They don't want this. Why must you insist on doing it? Since they say don't do it in our land.
That is the only area I will emphasize. As soon as they don't want us in the outer land, we will just forget about it. But they welcome us because of development, everything we do, we go.
These are different set of people now. They are different set of people. So if these people don't want you to do this, why do you insist on doing it? That's just a simple question.
That is what I want to say now. For Yoruba land, they don't want people. I agree. They should leave. They should forget about the Yoruba land. Even me, if I do Yoruba, I go back along the way. I want to be here.
All right. Thank you very much, Cletus. Thank you very much, Cletus, for your time. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Once more, Mr. Cosmos.
All right. Carry go.
Yes, it's Amma from Uche Street. So I come back to re-emphasize my point.
Okay.
Like I said initially, that this shouldn't be a bone of contention as far as the arrangement is accepted by both the home tribe or home state or home community and the host tribe, community, or state. So that shouldn't be a bone of contention. It is said that when you are in Rome, behave like.
Yeah.
So if where you are hosted, they don't accept it, you leave it the way it is. Then if your own home tribe or state or community doesn't accept it, then you leave it out. Because even within the Igbo nation, there are some communities that don't accept certain things other communities do. So that one is quite natural and it's quite communal. So it shouldn't be a secret of this.
Don't you think that by doing this kind of censorship and proliferation of AZEs all over the country and the world, is it not reducing the dignity of censorship in Igbo land?
Yeah, that's why I said that if your home tribe, state or community doesn't accept it, you leave it out, you forget about it. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, in Igbo land, I think that kind of arrangement is not accepted. The diaspora it is not accepted. So we should forget about it. Had it been that it was accepted, then I think we should embrace it. But in this case now, our home tribe, the home nation, Igbo nation doesn't accept it. And even the host tribe, which is the Yoruba land, doesn't accept it. I think it should be forgotten.
Okay.
That's my position. Amma from Uche Street.
Thank you very much, Amma. Let's go to our WhatsApp and take some messages. Good morning. Justice Okora from Umuna Karai. He said there is nothing like Ezendi Igbo outside Igbo land. These are how they have been destroying the dignity of Igbo kingship all over the world. In the 1960s, there were no such things like that. That is gospel according to this man. I didn't send me. Okay. Okay, Justice Okoria from Umunakara. Thank you very much, Justice. This one just said, All right, we also have, okay. This other one, Success from Umonkata Naked says, Mr. Barry, the Radio Machado, one on Radio Igbos in diaspora taking titles are doing it just for selfish interest and pride. Why will Igbos violate the culture and tradition of Igbo land in the foreign countries? This is total barbaric and unaccepted. Have a nice working day ahead, my brother. Thank you very much. Success for your message. We also have good morning, Barry. The truth about the Igbo tribe is they are not united, and that is why they are always being marginalized. Imagine how other tribes respect their thrones and culture, but in Igbo land, the reverse is the case. So much ego and power hungry amongst them. Imagine what that so-called 1.5 billion naira palace project in another man's land can do in the East. My brother, I wonder, what's all this? That's why the traditional rulers in this part of Nigeria have been reduced to nothing. Governors riding their kings anyhow. Imagine how the Oni of Ife, Oba of Benin, Emir of Sokoto, see how they command respect. They speak and the people listen. Who in Igbo land can speak and people respect and listen to them as their counterparts in other parts? A leader can be in diaspora as a president general and other titles, but not as Eze or Obi. It's too bad. Our tradition is gradually fading out. Prince Emmanuel from MCC sent in that one. All right, we also have beautiful morning once again, my majestic Barry. The topic of the day refers to Igbos should realize that the word Igbo rings an unpalatable bell in the ears of non-Igbo brethren. He said, please don't be sick, or we need you seriously around. May God grant you perfect healing, I pray. Thank you very much, Ezine Lady Julie, for your prayers. I appreciate that. All right, I just want to ask another question quickly before we go. Our time is up. If Obi of Lagos comes to Onisha, where we have Obi of Onisha, who is going to bow down to who? Who is now the real Obi? On that occasion, is the Obi of Lagos going to be welcome as a traditional ruler in a traditional setting in Igbo land? That is another question I want explanation. Other Ezes and Eze this, Eze that, even the one in Ghana, if he comes back to Nigeria, is he going to be an ordinary citizen in Nigeria, or is he going to be an Eze in Nigeria? So these are all questions. Why we do these things as beautiful as it sounds, there are a lot of repercussions. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on that one. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
Chief Bright, good morning. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, my brother. Barry, don't seek, oh. You are very important.
Thank you,
People
sir.
like, I beg.
How are you?
Like Rafi said, I am Chief Bright Ago.
Yes.
I do come from Ohabele, London, you know, Bosema. Yes.
Okay.
It's wrong for somebody to leave his comfort zone. That is leaving his state and go to another man's state, begin to answer Eze, Obi, or whatever and whatever. It's wrong. I think you can be President General of Igbos there, or even leader of Igbos, so that if any Igbo man runs into trouble, he can come together and you call your brethren and settle that matter. You cannot go to Yoruba land and they begin to answer Obi of Yoruba land. It's an aberration. I am not in support of it. And that is why they say Igbo enweze, Igbo enweze. Igbo enweze. But most of the time, because of selfish interest, some of our Igbo brothers go to another man's land and they begin to bring Igbo name to shame, bring shame to Igbo people. Is wrong. That is my take. I am Chief Bright Ago. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you very much, Chief Bright Ago. Just before we go, little findings I did. The clash of political and cultural structures is one of the biggest problems in Nigeria facing the Igbo Eze-ship outside Igbo land. Recall that this whole thing is an imposed title of Ezendigbo, for which there isn't any pre-colonial Igbo equivalent at all, especially when you leave it in diaspora. That brings about incessant political and cultural problems between the Igbos and their host community, especially the Yoruba land, which who revered their traditional stool. Well, Igbo political structure versus the Yoruba hierarchy. In Igbo communities, traditionally, they are republicans. They are decentralized political structures, whereas in Yoruba society, they had a centralized hierarchical kingdoms under an Oba. This is their sacred structure, both political and traditionally. The imposition of an Igbo king in Yoruba land, a title not indigenous to the region, is perceived as disruption to the existing power structure and cultural norms, leading to dispute over authority and legitimacy. So this is what you need to know about the political structure and Yoruba hierarchy. So for all of us doing Ndigbo, Ezendigbo and all that, you are creating a problem for the indigenous people of that community. That is what it means. Whether you like it or not, that's the gospel truth. But the fact is that the decentralized Igbo kingship and all that makes it, you don't have one particular man who superintends over the entire Igbo land. So they are republicans in nature and decentralized political structure. Well, the colonial legacy era facilitated migration and interaction between ethnic groups, but also introduced new political structures that intensified ethnic tensions and competition for resources and influence, laying the groundwork for ongoing conflict as it stands now. Recall that these colonial people, they came with their own problem. We had the empires of Benin, the Kanon Bono Empire, and the rest of them, the Oyo Empire. So these are all empires that were governed by one king and traditionally had the authority before the colonial masters came with their own thing and started bringing chief this, chief that, chief this. And that caused a lot of issues. Well, the contested authority, the installation of an Ezendigbo in a host community is often seen by the host group traditional rulers as an attempt to assert an alternative or rival authority within their territory, creating political tussles and territorial contest. This is what it is. So for those of us who are saying it is good, we can do this in Yoruba land, we can do it in Igbo land, we can do it in Hausa land, realize that this is exactly what it's on ground. You may not see it that way, but that's what it is. So once they perceive, I hope you understand that no man wants to share his kingdom. It's just like we come here, the Ezo of Owere, Ezo of Olu, Ezo of this, Ezo of that. And where Eze go and clinch 1 inch of land in Olu and the Olu king will allow him, it's not possible. So that is exactly what you have to understand. Even though maybe he wants to build a factory there, it's going to be handwritten and say you are going to run this as this, clearly, so it doesn't affect who owns the land. Those are issues that we need to put into context. Well, political factors, there are long-standing rivalry between the Igbo and the Yoruba ethnic group, fueled by historical competition for political power and economic opportunities, especially in urban centers like Lagos. So you have to understand that this is there. Recall in the last election, you can remember what happened. And this is exactly that particular tussle that is going on. Now to talk about the amplification of this tussle by the advent of social media. Well, the social media platforms have become a significant space for spreading hate speech, misinformation, and exclusionary campaigns against migrating ethnic groups, in further deepening animosity and contributing to the conflict. With the political context such as those in Lagos, these have heightened ethnic tensions, leading to campaigns for exclusion and deportation of Igbo people from the region and intensifying conflicts surrounding immigrants, leading our leadership structure. So all this put together, you will see now that these things you're doing is inviting more trouble to the Igbo people. So why keep doing it? Yes, why keep doing that? That is the question. Anyways, thank you all for being part of the program. I hope we learned one or two from our discussion this morning. Our time is up until we come your way again next time with another round of conversation tomorrow. I hope and I pray that I'll be stronger so we can vibe on. But definitely, God bless you all for being part of the program. Up next, it's Head to Revolution with the Slim Diva, of course, and her acolyte. Bye-bye for now. Barry Cosmos is signing out.